Hello, welcome to Critical Joke Theory with your host, G.D. Fenderson, Certified Forensic Humorist. Now with new joke technology. Hi, I'm G.D. Fenderson, Certified Forensic Humorist at large, but I'm losing weight. Welcome to Critical Joke Theory, episode 77. Now with new joke technology and open captioned for the humor impaired. Liam Payne, the former One Direction singer, died outside a hotel in Buenos Aires, local police confirmed Wednesday, after falling from his third-floor balcony of the Casa Sur Hotel. He was 31. A 911 call made from the hotel just minutes before Payne's death shows hotel staff feared for his safety and believed the singer was intoxicated. The hotel's reception head can be heard in Spanish calling for medical assistance for, quote, a guest who is intoxicated by drugs and alcohol, close quote. Unless she saw it or supplied it, how does she know that it's drugs and alcohol? She later added, but he left a good tip. Rest in peace, Liam. When you fall from a window, there's only one direction to go. Lily Ledbetter, whose name graces an equal pay law in the United States, has died at age 86. CBS, the BBC's news partner in the United States, quoted her children as saying she died peacefully on Saturday surrounded by family and loved ones. Damn it, not another one. If your health is compromised, stay away from family. Quote, our mother lived an extraordinary life, close quote, added a family statement. Who may also have an alibi. Ms. Ledbetter's activism led to the first bill signed into law by Barack Obama after he became the U.S. President, or HNIC, in 2009. Her moment in legal history came in 2007 when the United States Supreme Court threw out her wage discrimination case, dramatically narrowing equal pay laws in the process. But Ledbetter pushed on, becoming a public advocate for fair pay and helping change the law in Congress just 2 years later. Ledbetter led to better pay. Obituaries for Ledbetter have memorialized her fight for fair pay. But Ledbetter's life is also a good reminder that the fight for justice doesn't always end at the courthouse doors, especially in light of the current conservative majority's attempts to close those doors to so many Americans. When the Supreme Court closes a door, activists make that smashes a window. Like many advocates, Ledbetter didn't set out to become a crusader for justice. She fell into that role when she faced injustice. Rest in peace, Lily. Because of Ledbetter, we do better. The Israeli military have confirmed through DNA tests that Yahya Sinwar, the mastermind behind the October 7th attack on Israel, has been killed in a heavy gunfight on Wednesday by the IDF. Trump claimed that he was the father of IDF. If you don't get the reference, it will make sense later in this episode. Vice President Kamala Harris said on Thursday, quote, Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, is dead, and justice has been served, and the United States, Israel, and the entire world are better off as a result, close quote. So I guess Bibi Netanyahu can stop killing, resign, and turn himself in as a war criminal. I'd say he can finally negotiate the release of the hostages, but who can he negotiate with? He's killed everybody. Too soon? Sinwar was responsible for the deaths of thousands of people over the years, including some Americans. Harris stated that during the past year, the United States intelligence has been working with Israel to track down Sinwar and other Hamas leaders, and went on to say, quote, any terrorist who kills Americans, threatens the American people, threatens our troops or our interests, know this, we will always bring you to justice, close quote. Then she rolled her neck and gave some stink eye. If Trump loses the election, and I hope he does, if he still wants to be a dictator, Hamas has an opening. Send in your resume and application. They will pay you if you get the job. William Jacob Parsons, 44, was arrested over the weekend for allegedly threatening harm to FEMA employees responding to Hurricane Helene, according to the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office. Parsons was arrested and charged with going armed to the terror of the public, a misdemeanor, Captain Jamie Keever said in a news release issued on Monday. Quote, Parsons was armed with a handgun and a rifle, close quote, Keever said. And that's a misdemeanor? Maybe in the South, but according to the course I took, Advanced Law and Order 301, it's a Class C or D felony. See Section 115. Let's try that without the C section. Section 115, Part A, Paragraph 2 of Title 18 covers threats against all federal employees, including those covered by Section 351. When such a threat is done, quote, with intent to impede, intimidate, or interfere with, close quote, such federal employee, quote, while engaged in the performance of official duties, or with intent to retaliate against, close quote, such a federal employee. FEMA helping during a disaster is their job. I can't wait until Merrick Garland gets involved in about 3 years. The politicization of the response to Helene and later Milton has provided a recruitment opportunity for white supremacist groups who have assembled in devastated regions that government emergency services have struggled to reach as part of a recruitment drive and PR effort. I don't get it. It's not like the white supremacists are going to use their good cross-burning wood to help build houses. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper said Tuesday afternoon that 81 people remain missing in the western part of the state in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. I can't be certain, but if the white supremacists would leave, I bet you'd find at least 15 more black and brown people. In fact, I bet you won't even have to find them. They'll come out from behind the rubble on their own. Governor Cooper also addressed the continued misinformation campaigns and recent domestic threats against recovery efforts. Quote, if you're participating in spreading misinformation, stop it, close quote, Cooper said. Quote, whatever your aim is, the people you are really hurting is the people in Western North Carolina who need help, close quote. Things are too politicized. If a natural disaster strikes a blue state, it's the wrath of God. And if it strikes a red state, it's the Democrats. There were some tense moments on Saturday when volunteers say they witnessed an armed group of people on side-by-sides confronting and threatening FEMA workers in the Elk Mills community of Carter County, Tennessee. Tracy Elder is president and founder of the International Alliance of Community Chaplains. Her group has been working in disaster relief for more than 20 years. Elder told News Channel 11 that she found herself between FEMA workers and a group of armed citizens criticizing the work of the government agency. Elder was able to defuse the situation. Quote, they were all armed, open carry, not guns drawn, but they had surrounded them and there was a lady that was yelling and threatening them, close quote, Elder said. She explained that she listened to their grievances about FEMA, but explained that her organization was not associated with the federal agency. Elder wanted to make sure that if shit went sour, she was in the clear. Elder said she felt the group was frustrated and she was able to hear them out, but was firm in that the behavior wasn't appropriate. Quote, I said, hey, I hear you. You can say there's no volunteers, but I'm standing right in front of you, honey, and I'm here and we're helping, close quote. Elder said once the group realized that FEMA wasn't stealing those donations and that the command center was run by volunteers, they left and surprisingly returned later with supplies to donate. If they had supplies to donate, why wasn't their first instinct to help out their neighbors instead of acting like it's FEMA season? Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting FEMA. The Supreme Court on Tuesday tossed out a decision allowing 18-year-olds to openly carry guns during emergencies in Pennsylvania. There were no noted dissents in the High Court's brief order. It lets stand a ban on people aged 18 to 20 carrying guns in public during a declared state of emergency. It sounds like they can still carry them if it's concealed. We need to go through the amendments one by one and bring them up to date with the times. I am so tired of being scared of what the Supreme Court may decide next. The case comes amid major shifts in the firearm legal landscape following an influential Supreme Court decision in 2022 that expanded gun rights. The High Court said any firearm restrictions must have a strong basis in history. Multiple gun laws have been struck down in the wake of that ruling, including age restrictions by judges in states like Minnesota, Virginia, and Texas. The Pennsylvania challengers argued that younger people weren't barred from carrying guns at the time of the nation's founding, so they shouldn't be barred today. Okay, by that logic, they can carry muskets and they have to give up their cell phones. A judge in Georgia has rejected several new rules from the Georgia State Election Board that would have required officials to hand count the number of ballots cast at each polling place, criticizing state election officials for approving it so close to Election Day. Quote, no training has been administered, let alone developed, no protocols for handling write-in ballots have been issued, and no allowances have been made in any county's election budget for additional personnel and other expenses required to implement the hand count rule, close quote. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Robert McBurney, seen here ready to bitch slap somebody, wrote in his order on Tuesday. The ruling came a day after the same judge ruled that county election officials must certify election results by the deadline set in law. This is being hailed as a victory for Democrats, liberal voting rights groups, and some legal experts who have raised concerns that Donald Trump's allies could refuse to certify the results if the former president loses to Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris in next month's presidential election. It is actually a victory for sanity. It is fucking crazy that instead of getting a better message or policies, Republicans decide that changing the rules during halftime of a game so that they can win the game with fewer points is the way to go. United States Senator Ted Cruz and his Democratic challenger, United States Representative Colin Aldred, sparred Tuesday over immigration, abortion, and transgender rights in a feisty debate that is expected to be the only on-stage face-off between the two candidates ahead of the November 5th election. Throughout the one-hour debate, Cruz cast Aldred as, quote, radical and extreme, unquote, repeatedly urging the audience to consider Aldred's voting record over his efforts to portray himself as a moderate. He sought to tie Aldred to Vice President Kamala Harris, alleging the two, quote, voted in favor of open borders over and over, close quote, and were both responsible for fueling a surge in inflation under the Biden administration. But if the borders were closed, Ted Cruz could not have run off to Cancun when the snow hit the fan. Allred countered by attacking Cruz as a partisan bomb thrower with few legislative accomplishments to show for his nearly 12 years in office. He blasted Cruz for helping spike a bipartisan border package earlier this year and said the GOP senator was only focused on himself, and reminding people that after Cruz stoked the flames of the January 6th attack on the Capitol, Ted Cruz was literally found hiding in a closet while Allred was standing with the Capitol Police trying to protect the chambers. Everything is bigger in Texas, especially the shit that they take from Republican politicians. Safeway, Albertsons, and Vons grocers have agreed to a near $4 million civil settlement after being accused of engaging in false advertising and unfair competition. Technically, all three chains are part of Albertsons companies. This comes after customers in some locations took notice that the advertised prices on certain foods were higher than that was originally advertised, according to the complaint. Quote, trusting companies to sell products to consumers that are accurately weighed and priced, especially in today's economy, is a priority to my office, close quote, Sonoma County District Attorney Carla Rodriguez said. Quote, my Environmental and Consumer Law Division works with the Sonoma County Agriculture Consumer Weights and Measures Department to make sure businesses in our community correctly charge customers, close quote. Now CEO Vivek Sankaran will go unpunished. He is responsible even though people will somehow blame Biden. Next, we have to go after Shady Brook Farms. They sell a 48-ounce package of ground turkey, but there is only 46 ounces of meat in it. This has been going on for over 2 years. Shady Brook's parent company, Cargill, and CEO Brian Sykes need to be brought to justice, and I want to be compensated for my missing meat. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Trump is trying to silence Stormy Daniels again. Why can't he quit her? By now, the basics of Donald Trump's Stormy Daniels scandal are probably familiar. There is, however, a new twist in the story, suggesting that the ordeal has an important new chapter. As regular readers probably recall, shortly before Election Day 2016, Trump paid the adult film actress $130,000 as part of an agreement in which Daniels would keep quiet about an alleged sexual encounter she had with the future president. Trump has denied having an affair with Daniels. The point, of course, was to prevent the public from learning about the alleged encounter, which Daniels claims happened shortly after Trump's third wife gave birth to his fifth child. Fast forward 8 years to the present, and here we go again. Ex-President Donald Trump this summer offered a financial incentive to adult film star turned comedian Stormy Daniels if she agreed to keep quiet about Trump, including about the relationship that became the center of the hush money payments that ended up the subject of a New York criminal trial. Ahead of this November's election, MSNBC's Rachel Maddow reported on Wednesday. In other words, she can make dirty movies and tell dirty jokes, but not the dirty truth about that dirty man. A jury found Trump guilty of crimes related to the hush money payment to the porn star, but Daniels still owed the former president a significant amount of money in legal fees stemming from a variety of cases, including an ill-fated defamation case filed by her now imprisoned attorney, the Pete Rose of lawyers. She launched a crowdfunding page to raise enough money to pay those bills, which worked. Daniels owed Trump hundreds of thousands of dollars, and her supporters, working harder than one of her bras, donated the funds she needed. At that point, her lawyers began negotiating with the Republican candidate's lawyers on the precise amount, accommodating questions regarding interest, according to written correspondences between the legal teams obtained by Rachel Maddow. At one point, Team Trump wanted $652,000, for example, while Team Daniels said the total should be closer to $600,000. As part of that process, the former president's lawyers decided to add a variable to the negotiations. Trump would accept less money in exchange for Daniels' silence because it worked so well the first time. Quote, we disagreed that a payment of $620,000 would be in full satisfaction of the three judgments, close quote, Trump's lawyer said in a July letter obtained by Dr. Maddow. Hell yeah, she's a doctor, a PhD, putting the hurt on Donald. Quote, however, we can agree to settle these matters for $620,000, provided that your client agrees in writing to make no public or private statements related to any alleged past interactions with President Trump or defamatory or disparaging statements about him, his businesses, and or any affiliates or his suitability as a candidate for president, close quote. Eventually, the two teams agreed to $627,500 and no NDA. Oh shit. Want to know why? There are teardrops in Trump's eyes. Stormy Daniels. Trump's people blamed the leak of his story on the recent Iranian hack, but this time the leak came from Trump. This is not the trickle down that Trump supports. And finally, both Trump and Harris hit a bunch of media events with a little over 2 weeks left before the election. The four times indicted, twice impeached, convicted felon, unregistered sex offender, loser, ex-president Donald Trump had a Fox town hall with an all-female fan base in Georgia, a Univision town hall. How do you say disaster in Spanish? Oh yeah, Trump. He bombed on Bloomberg and blamed Bloomberg. They asked questions, so many questions. And Trump held a town hall turned dance hall sway off in Pennsylvania. He did the sycophant tour while avoiding the more challenging interviews with CNBC, NBC, 60 Minutes, and an NRA rally. During the heat-riddled Pennsylvania rally, two people fainted from the heat. Trump eventually said, would anybody else like to faint? Noam laughed and said, let's do it now. And Trump said, please raise your hand. Trump said the GOP is a party of common sense during his contentious Bloomberg interview. Uncommonly dense is more like it. It said that there is no such thing as a atheists in a foxhole, but there are idiots up his asshole. Trump said at his Georgia town hall that he is the father of IVF. Either IVF stands for I violate females, or he thinks that's how you spell Ivanka. Harris also hit more places than I can keep track of. As a matter of fact, she's probably at a rally or an interview right now. She had a town hall in Detroit hosted by the Breakfast Club where she took unscripted questions from the audience. VP Harris also put on her big girl pantsuit and went on Fox where she undressed Bret Baier. Harris addressed Trump's claims that he would sic the military on political foes, journalists, and others he deems to be enemies of the state, or him, and that state is delusional. Baier deliberately showed the wrong clip discounting Harris's claim, which is supported by lots of video evidence. At which point, Harris showed why she is the better choice between her and the rest of the presidential field. Bret Baier was stripped bare and got that ass spanked. Bret claimed it was an accident, like playing the Trump ad for free during the interview and asking Harris to respond to it. Or like when they edited a video of President Biden walking to talk to parachutists, removing the parachutists so it looked as if President Biden was talking to no one. This time they got caught in real time by a real leader. The only thing missing was the neck roll. Dear Fox, OAN, Newsmax, and any other so-called information outlet, politicians are human. They're going to fuck up. All you have to do is report the fuck-ups. You don't have to make shit up or make shit worse. Okay? I'm GD Fenderson, certified forensic humorist, now with new joke technology. Thank you for watching Critical Joke Theory. If you enjoyed it, please like and share it. And please check out Done Way Past Funny on YouTube, Knob TV, and Spark TV. Also watch The Church of Last Resort streaming live on Sundays on YouTube at 9 a.m. Eastern. And if you are in Hanover, Pennsylvania on November 8th, check out my new comedy experience, the Rowdy Runway Comedy Show. Tickets are available online at www.churchofsatirecomedyclub.com. And please, get out there and vote. Be safe out there, and don't feed the crazies. Critical Joke Theory with your host, GD Fenderson, certified forensic humorist. Now with new joke technology.